Think of Connect as a toolbox with tools to help with individualized learning. Prep and SmartBook are individualized learning tools in that toolbox. Let's take a deeper look at individualized learning via SmartBook. Instructors are using it to help students engage with the content before they come to lecture. That way, it's not the first time they're hearing and seeing these terms. SmartBook helps students understand the content more efficiently by highlighting where in the chapter to focus. The highlights are tied to the learning objectives that you select. Initially, these highlights focus on content that will help them to build the foundation so they can go in and learn the next level of topics. Students earn credit by correctly answering the probes or questions which gauge their understanding of the material. They're presented with different types of questions. Initially, students will get more recognition questions. As students get to know the material and become more confident, they receive more difficult types of questions, such as recall. If a student answers incorrectly, they'll be given new probes on similar topics to test their retention of the material. Notice to the right, students will find resources to help them understand the material if they don't grasp it the first time they read it. These can range from slides to videos, as well as the ability to go back into that section of the text. Based on the way the student engages with the probes determines what they're presented next. Rather than giving the students more questions on a topic that they missed, SmartBook tries to identify why they missed the question in case there's something in the foundational knowledge that they aren't understanding. So the system gathers data on things like how they answered the question and to what extent they were wrong or right, whether they leaned on the learning resources to help them get to the answer, how their competency relates to their confidence level, how long they sat in the question, how difficult the question was, and how they did on other questions related to that topic. These data points go into the artificial intelligence engine and are compared to data from students across the country to help identify gaps so that the probes can be reprioritized and presented to the student in the most effective way. As the student demonstrates understanding, additional material will be presented and the highlights in the text will change from yellow to green. Like a GPS, SmartBook adjusts for wrong turns to quickly get them back on track. The reports in SmartBook identify the concepts and learning objectives that the class is having difficulty grasping. This essential information lets you know exactly which areas to target to review during your limited class time. Post-lecture, you'll use the tools in the assessment side of the toolbox to ramp up the content and help students develop critical thinking skills. To help you ramp up the content, a minimum of 30% of the questions that you'll find in the assessment are from Bloom's Level 3, 4, and 5. Let's take a deeper look at an assignment in Chapter 5. Many students are very good with memorizing facts, but struggle with critical thinking. These questions are written to promote thinking beyond facts and definitions. After working through the assignment, students will be given feedback, which is meant to help simulate the office hour experience while they're away from campus. In this example, the explanations give students detailed feedback in the form of 5 Socratic questions, which walk them through the process of thinking like a scientist. First, they'll be guided to clarify the question. Next, gather content directs the student toward background information needed to answer the question. If many choices exist, students are urged to consider possibilities. Choose Answer asks students to select the best choice based on the question content and the possibilities they considered. Then they'll be prompted to reflect on the process. Many students also struggle with math-based problems. To address this, Connect offers algorithmic questions to help them practice their quantitative reasoning skills. Students can use the hint to help them get started. There's also a solution button which displays the fully worked problem, or they can use the guided solution, which shows a step-by-step solution for the current question. Once the student is finished with the guided solution, the same problem type with different variables is presented. Notice how the values changed. The goal is for them to learn how to go through this process. As you can see, Connect's Toolbox provides you with individualized learning, class resources, and assessments to help your students succeed.